thou art! The upstart that seeketh to upset the harmony of Heimerheim! Why hast thou ventured here, Avatar of Man? Why dost thou seek the downfall of Lord, nay, King Boreas, Sovereign of Winter? So thou seeketh but another human, a worm of no import. But though thou tramplest through my realm and besiegest my fortress, thou shalt not have her! Fairy, I have marcheth to the gallows, Heimerheim drawn forth from freeze and frost. How they mock at me, my brother seasons! Thou art the ugliest quarter, they saith to my frozen face. Thou art the blemish of the year, fool that thou art, my brothers! Winter is the jewel of the seasons, and now it is the ruler of time and Heim! Heimerheim! 'Tis easy when thou hast but to wish upon a well, and the generous pit delivereth unto thee the power of chaos. It doth whisper, the demon straight into my wintry wit, and a woman he sendeth forth into the fields of Fairy. The stone of stars, no more doth she ask of me. The stone and blood of imps. In return she giveth unto me this staff, my siblings enslaved within. Strong are they, these immaculates, stronger than thee, for thy wield the powers of darkest demons. And stronger than thee I am too, the lord of all the seasons, the ruler of all the elements, the one king of eternal winter! I, Avatar, I! Thou hast traveled far and delveth deep into the heart of winter, but here thou shalt find thine end. Ice preserveth life and death, and in between the two thou shalt spend the ages in frost encased.
Eternal silence awaits you.
I can smell your fear. Rain nurtures our land.
It never rains, but it pours, eh?
Damn thee, fiend! Upon the torrents of stars, I call to burn thy body!
Not so fast. In this death. Water of life! needs breath!
I feel like I've just had a long bath in a cold lake.
Poison that lurketh in the depths! Come forth and sting thee 1,000 times over!
Sweet relief.
Stand down before I cut you down!
Sweet relief.
A stitch in time, eh, my friends?
Into the fray once more. Sweet relief. try.
Oh, out of the way! It's Lurian's turn. Well, I thought the day would never come. Thanks for giving old Carrot Face the great melt. We and the Earth Kingdom owe you a tremendous... what? Well, you'll have to wait your turn. Oh, for the love of all that's igneous, go ahead then, if it'll stop your owling.
I'll answer that. We are the sovereigns of the seasons, kind hero. And we thank you for saving us from our rather deranged brother, the one-time King of Winter. I am Suan of the Summer Kingdom. These are my siblings, Semista of Spring and Larian of Autumn. We overheard a crafty little imp named Gigix tell Boreas that the staff can only be destroyed where it was created. The Elemental Forge. He seemed to imply that the forge was somewhere in Hyberheim itself, but I know not its exact location. Better the crackle of embers than this idiotic blustering.
Oh, cover your ears, hero! Nothing whips up a flame like a wild wind!
The Elemental Forge, hero. It's the only way.
Dancing devil sprites, comrade. A talking staff. Burn it before its sauce tendrils start leeching your eye jelly.
Your world is more horrifying than I ever knew.
To my bones.
I'm overheating here. My heels are really dragging here.
I'd trade my gauntlets for a hot drink.
What a deluge! Are really dragging here. Need to warm up.
I'd trade my gauntlets for a hot drink.
Protect me from the Immaculate. They must be near. So, you have tracked me down, have you? The last hour of Act 6 strikes. to be undone by the devils that call themselves Immaculates. Immaculate, even though they are so very violently flawed of mind and soul. Go on, do it. I have no fight left in me. You're not. Could it be I finally meet some sanity in this twisted realm of fairy? By all means, let us talk then, and behave like civilized beings. Things of nightmare, human. They came here, your kind, because they were promised a special stone by the king of this land. We served him loyally, our sovereign, the great Boreas, but he betrayed us. We were surrendered to the Immaculates so that they could slaughter us and fuel the stone with our blood. For what unholy purpose, I do not know. Some of us rebelled and ran. Of course we did. But they've been tracking us through the storm. We were able to fight off and even kill a couple of our pursuers. But now, I fear I am the last one left. You must know that we imps have wandered many a world after our escape from demon overlords in the frightful dimension of Nemesis centuries ago. After long and arduous travels through untold earths, some of us ended up here in the land of fairy. Boreas, not yet king at the time, welcomed us because he had heard of our reputation as master builders. So we built him his fortress and his prison, riddled them with the traps and trickery he desired, and in return, we were given a new home. But we mistook his ambition for kindness. In blood did we pay for our gullibility. So I have. The fates must be conspiring against me. We barely managed to escape the knives of the Immaculates, only to be waylaid by elementals gone haywire. Luckily, they seemed to be as bent on one another's destruction as they were on ours. But the fact remains, I am the only one alive to tell the tale. It's all King Boreas' doing. It must be. He is the one who unleashed this storm, and he is the one behind all this elemental madness. You have the staff. But that means you must have killed Boreas. Just what that fat snow cone had coming to him. You want to destroy it, you say? Free the elementals inside, yes? It is rather simple, really. That which was made in the elemental forge can be destroyed in the elemental forge. That is where you should go. I thought it was naught but a pretty jewel, said to have fallen from the sky. But when they poured blood over it, the stone seemed to soak it up with a greedy thirst indeed. It's like it became alive. It teemed with energy, like looking into the eye of a dragon. She smiled her wicked smile, the leader of the Immaculates. That woman is truly evil. She delights in slaughter and rivers of blood. It is located in the Fire Temple, where my poor brethren were massacred, and the very place where we imps created many of the traps that litter this realm. Perhaps you met with some of our handiwork, the rats and the roosters, inventive creations. Wouldn't you agree? You should have seen this land before Boreas seized power. Each and every season passed with utmost splendor. But now, there is only winter and snowstorms. The very elements have lost their minds, have come to life in terrible forms to battle one another. The land of fairy, where fairies dwell, no more. Getting too cold. Concentrate. What shall I do now that you are dead? All alone.
That imp was among the bravest creatures I have yet met, my friend. As is the legend of Gorwyn, so the gods will honor all who heed nobility's calm call. I am sure the gods will honor Axix as they honor the highest heroes in the Hall of Echoes.
If there is anything I can do to help you slay all Immaculates, pray state it.
Justice awaits you.
The entire place is splattered in blood.
Another human.
Someone must really
Here
dislike
to end
imps.
me? Away with you! Another human. Here to end me? Away with you! Away with you, damned Reaper! Take your scythe to grain, not my soul! The bane of all life-loving souls, maniacs and their gods. The humans, they wanted Lord Boreas's great starstone, so they fashioned him a staff, the elemental staff. It makes him king, for it dethroned his brothers. So glad was he with power, yet another bane, that we were given to the humans and their knives. Stone of stars, stone of blood, accursed be. In his castle, in the dungeon, the fortress we built him, all he longs for is eternal winter, a season of pain and imprisonment everlasting. Oh, blissful tidings! You have slain the betrayer, then seek no more, for you have found the forge here in this hall. Throw in the staff and it will fracture in the fire. Fear not like I must. Away, damned Reaper, away!
We can't be surprised at that. Madness befits the fiend, my lord. Now his purpose is nearly served. May he consume this entire dimension in his foolish delusions. Soon enough, my Immaculates. Your conduit will raise you to divine heights. This bloodstone has an ingress between fates, our link to the next stage of being. Never mind the... Source Hunter. I had so hoped to avoid meeting you here. But perhaps we were bound to face one another. Your kind have long interfered with mine, after all. You must think me quite the villain, mustn't you? The things you've seen. Without the proper context, I can imagine it's all quite shocking. Horrific, even. And I suppose you must have pictured me, some bloodthirsty madwoman, intent on what, I wonder? Power? Gold? Chaos for its own wild sake? The truth is rather less simple than the imagination would conceive. Surely, the sight of a bit of blood doesn't turn your stomach, Source Hunter. No, I imagine you've become more than accustomed to such things. If only my dear Immaculates took the same approach to our great work. But it seems all too often that only the most vicious of them rise up to the required tasks. All the same, these deaths were necessary. Soon enough, the pain they suffered, and pain you have suffered, Source Hunter, will be washed away, cleansed. This is my promise to all of Rivellon. Death. I've nearly forgotten the meaning of the word, what it means to most. But I am no monster, Source Hunter. Like you, I have seen the living snatched so senselessly from this world, and I have mourned. But I have also discovered that weeping was senseless. Like infants, we squall, clinging to a day that is not ours to keep. Now that I know the truth, I am free. What you see as slaughter is in fact a dispassionate process. I take no more pleasure in this so-called destruction than a wave takes in the flood. What I do must be. I wish you could understand. You know as well as I the enlightening capacity of these stones, Source Hunter. I've heard tell that you've been zapping the life from precious star stones, and that you are bolstered by the power within them. Your experiences are unique in all of Rivellon's history, but you are hardly the only player in this story. As Starstone enlightens you, its child, Bloodstone, enlightens something of my own creation. Barbarism. Quite a chauvinistic term to apply to something one hardly comprehends, isn't it? But I will concede, the power I intend to bring to bear upon Rivellon is no more divine than your boot. We are free agents, Source Hunter, all of us, and we owe no higher power our blood or our flesh. I have posed as a priest in service of a truth greater than any goddess could hope to be. So you have seen it? Yes, it's as I thought. You and I have more in common than you think. You know as well as I that the void is coming. In fact, if I'm very precise, it's already here. But you needn't be afraid. The void is ourselves. We are destined to rejoin it. Tut-tut, Source Hunter. You and I both know I could hardly trust you with such information. Though if you continue stomping around in my wake, you're sure to understand soon enough. And here I believed I was starting to reach you. My foolish optimism bears yet another disappointment. But I do believe we agree on one particular point, Source Hunter. This does indeed end now. Immaculates, enlightened ones, your conduit calls ultimate purpose. Heed the void's call. Offer your souls to the demons that beckon you. Charming of Astarte to send her scouts upon me, but no matter. The Bloodstone is mine.
Ironclad, fleet of foot. I'm invincible.
Let's dance to death!
Nothing the Andromite do could shake our identities. We are Source Hunters. Our job is to destroy that which would harm Rivellon.
Fortune!
Sister, we are free! And who is this? Can it be that a frail mortal human faced and bested our own scheming Boreas? Ah, but this is no mortal, I see. Strange you'd take the guise of a source hunter. But I shall of course honor your chosen form. Indeed, I suppose I should have expected that one of your kind would snare our brother sooner or later. Boreas always did dance uncomfortably close to the dark arts. But I suppose the others of we elemental monarchs thought it better not to interfere in the affairs of his realm. No, like fools we waited for his pride, his hunger for more and ever more power, to pull us from our own seats of safety and into his sordid storm. We, and with us all the subjects of the realm of Fairy, do owe you our lives, Source Hunter. If, no, not if, but when, we might be of assistance to you in this dimension, you must call upon me personally. I am King Sewer of the Summer Kingdom of Calvia, brother, alongside the other elemental monarchs, to the unfortunate and insane Boreas. In earlier days, we ruled the four realms of Fairy in relative peace, each of us the master of our own kingdom. But something changed in Boreas. He grew darker somehow, more than was typical of his usual melancholy. We worried, yes, but chose not to intervene. Boreas was the Lord of Hyberheim, and it was his right to rule it as he pleased. When our brother called the elemental seats to convene in Hyberheim, we were ecstatic. Boreas seemed again interested in the joint rule of Fairy. in upholding the long-established diplomacy of our lands. When we arrived, however, it was not Boreas who greeted us, but a dark figure. A woman with a stare like blackest fire. In her staff she held a demonic power, the likes of which I've never felt. And as we were sucked into its depths, we thought we'd never see the light of Fairy again. Source Hunter, it would be my sincerest honor. Take this rune, and use it to summon me when you're near the witch once more. If she can be extracted from Boreas ice, I'll find a way to make it so. I listened closely when I could to Boreas' doings. From what I could tell, it seems this woman had little contact with our deranged brother after the initial exchange of the staff. From what I could tell, the arrangement was thus. She gave him us, contained, and in return he gave her access to his great star stone, and scores of imps he'd invited to Hyberheim. After that, the two parted, and I heard little more of the woman. In his fits of madness, Boreas would sometimes bellow abuse about the demon woman. I can only assume he meant the same who trapped us.
We best be on our way then. The spring and autumn kingdoms won't rule themselves, you know. May our paths cross soon, Source Hunter.
Our champion has returned.
Anything.
I feel a great sorrow for the Red Woman. She seems to seek right doing, but her means are bloody and terrible. When she realizes her mistakes, her suffering will be great. Then I will hold out, as you say, for us both. In her heart is a cold season, blinding as snow. But perhaps this season, like the others, will peak and then give way to another. Then again, perhaps I am only blind. Your world is not my own after all. There is still much I do not understand.
With this incantation, we can pass the force field that bars the way into the castle.
High time for an audience with King Boreas, I say.
There she is. The White Witch.
I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. I've tried my very best, and will try. Sewer, you say? But that is wonderful. My faith in you as ever, well placed. At your leisure, Source Hunter. Though, for Akara's sake, we ought not to dilly-dally too long. The White Witch is quickly growing a whiter shade of pale indeed. Damnation! Not even a crack! It seems the Winter King has woven ice too rare and powerful for mere fire. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. Damnation! Not even a crack! I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way.
It's so cold here.
I'll avenge you, my fallen brother. those elemental fiends? How did we imps ever offend fire? Or if there is anything I can do to help you slay all Immaculates, pray...
It's so cold here.
Indeed, Source Hunter. Indeed. Simply summon...
I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way.
This is your White Witch, then? And you're sure you want to free her, are you? Even our mad Boreas wouldn't have wasted such precious ice on a petty criminal. Whatever she did to find herself here must have been rather severe indeed. But I am in your debt, and I would be remiss not to honor your request. Shield your eyes, Source Hunter. To melt ice of this refinement, I'll need to summon an equally rare flame.
Than a witch's teat. How very callous of Leandra to entower her only sister in a barren tundra for eternity.
Ikara, you're all right? The ice, King Boreas, and your sister. What a frigid hell you've endured.
And yet not even a frigid hell like this could induce you to put on a shirt, could it, Ahu? My old friend, surely I have you to thank for my salvation.
That honor goes to a pair of talented source hunters, actually. If not for their efforts, I'd be quite uselessly prowling around your prison still.
Then perhaps I ought to address my savior directly. Source Hunter, Is that the masquerade? Well, what a motley crew we are. Isn't there somewhere a bit warmer we might discuss matters? Ah, yes, of course, of course. Do pardon me. I didn't mean to imply you were very clearly eternal beings in the guise of minor mortals. Not at all. Please, let's do carry on. Oh, yes, I suppose I am. But I do prefer my given name. Ikara, that is. Charmed. But I hope I haven't disappointed my own hero. Am I just as white and witchy as you'd hoped? First things first, Source Hunter. For my freedom, I owe you every imaginable thanks. My soul had withered in this prison, and I might not have survived much longer without your help. Now, about the culprits. My corrupted sister and the mad Winter King. When I realized exactly where, and to whom Leandra was consigning me, I was certain I'd never enjoy the sun's warmth again. But neither she nor I anticipated the Source Hunter. That was her mistake, and my blessing. I never would have imagined Leandra capable of dealing with the likes of Boreas, but she has changed into someone I hardly recognize anymore. I take no pleasure in the memory of that night. The thought of hurting anyone or anything is abhorrent to me. But in this case, I judged it necessary. If you've come this far, I trust you've learned that the Counselor was far from a humble civil servant. This doesn't excuse my behavior, but perhaps it can help to explain it. It's a sordid story, to be perfectly frank. Two sisters, a philanderous, treacherous wizard, death and mayhem. Are you sure you're interested in such things? The sparkle in your eye belies your better nature, Source Hunter. Now I know that it is your duty to get to the heart of this. And, in truth, the events of that night were but one part of a larger and much darker matter. A matter in which I'll dare to beg your assistance before we're through with one another. Now that terrible night. One night, as I slept, I had a sudden revelation. No dream, but a vision. My sister Leandra and my lover Zandalor. I didn't understand, but I recognized their location. Syceel's King Crab Inn. I arrived and looked through their window, but inside, everything was wrong. Leandra had fled, and Counselor Jake stood over the wizard, a knife in his hand and hate in his eyes. As I watched, he drove the dagger deep into Zandalor's heart, and I was too late to stop him. In that moment, I broke. I saw before me not a man, not even a beast, but evil incarnate. And I used Source to slay him. On the floor lay Zandalor. In my hands, I held Jake's life force. I had sworn never to use Source, but I couldn't walk away. And so I did the unthinkable. I used the Counselor's life to save Zandalor's. He was alive, but only just. Betrayal. Murder. Source. We were all of us guilty now. If you were any other Source Hunter, I suppose you'd strike me down where I stand after that terrible admission. Fortunately for us both, you are no other Source Hunter. My own little sister, if you can imagine it. She was always the more ambitious, the more exacting of us, and she had no fear of the darkness that so often accompanies Source. Her collusion with King Boreas in imprisoning me here confirms my worst fears. She is planning something far greater than I could have anticipated. For this reason, and with a heavy heart, I must ask you, Source Hunter, to find out how far exactly Leandra has become entwined in the dark arts. I hate to extend my own invitation, Source Hunter, but I believe I ought to accompany you to Zigzax's hideout. Presumptuous, yes, but I'd recognize the imp's essence just about anywhere. Both he and you must learn more about the darkness that has extended itself into our dearest Rivellon. And I believe I know where we must begin. Ah, but unless that's a bear flailing through the threads of time, I do believe Master Zigzax is on his way. Make way, Source Hunter, landing in 3, 2...
Hunters, you've done it! Ikara is free! Ah, what good it does my impish heart to see her safe and bright as ever! We have much to discuss. Come one and all to the end of time. A spot of something warm and the soft glow of the tapestry ought to do us all a bit of good, hmm? You are, Ikara. Now, if we're done playing hide and seek, let's not waste a jot more time. Oh, I just can't wait to pick your every synapse.
After you, Master Zigzax.
So that's the White Witch, eh? I expected someone a little more evil. I can't say I'd cut her down for mistake, but she sure has fewer horns than I expected.
Oh, we've solved the murder and caught the culprit, yet this case feels anything but closed. Who was she to rank the life of the wizard over that of Jake? This is a cut-and-dry case of murder, I say.
Welcome back, Source Hunters. I've been eagerly expecting you. You found another star stone, haven't you? Go on, go on. Ask me how I know. Aha! Mere child's play when you know what to look for. And luckily, I do. Do you remember when you first arrived on this plane? When the dormant portal that led us to this hall sprang to life? It's happened again, my friend. Another portal has reignited. The end of time is growing by the stone. It's all connected somehow. You, this place, the void, the stones. Soon we'll have unraveled the whole truth. Oh, how I do love a good mystery. You don't imagine that I'd presume to explore it before you? No, that would be most unmannerly. And not to mention, well, No, I'm sure it's nothing. It's just that beyond the portal, I sense a presence that I can't quite account for. It is at once powerful and faint. Perhaps only a shadow, perhaps more. But this is only speculation, of course. Come, let me show you the way. Once you're through, you'll be able to report exactly what we're dealing with.
How might I serve our mission? Leandra. She desires to be Mother of the Void, but you have the power to undo her born-in-blood litter. Though they be baptized in blood, you can cleanse the Starstones still, and use them to thwart their grim queen.
Why, I see Master Zigzags has upgraded from his shabby little hut at the edge of the hour, from the fairy dimension to the, space-time weaver hunter imp one. What do you call this place again? Ha! Is that so? It seems I have my share to learn about the magical world yet. The end of time. Well, suddenly your association with Master Zigzags makes sense. Well, I must say, it's no small relief to find myself in a safe haven among such allies. I believe the answer to that begins centuries ago, when your order was still cutting down so-called dark magicians by the dozens. Ours was a family of born sorcerers, you see. It was in our blood to interact with Source, but our parents were determined to curb the power within us. Still, their meekness wouldn't save them from the Source Hunters. I am, but there is more to our kind than they teach at your academy. Source isn't only blood and madness. It's like lightning, an exquisite current of great power. We sorcerers are like metal steeples. Source is drawn to us, and it flows through us. But what so many fail to understand is that Source can be controlled. The power-drunk through history have abused it, and all the world's sorcerers have borne terrible consequences. Tell me, Source Hunter, in all your hours studying the arcane arts, did your great masters ever suggest that perhaps not all sorcerers were evil? Did you ever hear, even once, that some of us were weak and gentle, that we could be simple forest folk healing the sick and frozen each winter? No. I doubt also that they'd mention that one day this hunt of yours would birth a broken soul powerful enough to inch all of Rivellon toward oblivion. No, that would be going too far, and eschewing my own responsibility. I believe Leandra's long fall down did begin at the hands of some of your own order, but it was I who sparked all of this. They came on a quiet morning. My mother was wild with fright and commanded me to hide myself and Leandra outside, among the trees. Even at that young age, we knew not to question her. We climbed high into the branches of a nearby tree, and before we could look away, our parents were cut down without ceremony before our door. The Source Hunters sauntered away, wiping their blades with pride. 2 more sorcerers dead, a job well done. From that moment on, everything was different. As we trembled in that tree, our fear and our desperation were so potent that the magic within us began to weave together. Our souls became forged together, our bond unbreakable. We would survive, thrive even within those woods, never speaking to outsiders. Our soul forge meant that if one of us were to die, the other would instantly perish too. We kept one another close. Leandra's capacity was enormous. Source didn't frighten her, and she delved into that dark well with terrible regularity. I did my best to guide her, but she fast outgrew my admonitions. My sister and I were mired in a solitary existence, witches among the trees when Zandalore came. Leandra especially couldn't leave him be. He was a feast of information, and she wouldn't rest until she'd absorbed every bit of knowledge he offered. Their days were spent on charms, hexes, and the like. At night, Leandra would wander off to practice what she'd learned, and Zandalore and I would settle into our quiet tasks, side by side. We were a content trio, the three of us, but base impulse would undo us. As you know, Leandra and I were soul-forged. This offered us a window into one another's souls. I knew Leandra had developed feelings for Zandalore, and she knew I had too. But it was me to whom he confessed his love. Those quiet evenings together had captured his heart, as they had mine. Her heart broke the moment we announced our new attachment, and I felt the pain of it as sharply as a knife. She fled, without a word, and I didn't see her for 2 terrible years. My connection to her, our soul forge, grew weaker. It was as though some third entity, a parasite, were atop our souls, sucking the strength from it day by day. We've a single order of business first and foremost. Leandra is gathering an army, and I fear we'll have to get through it if we wish to find her. But first, we must learn more about Leandra's plans. How many of these so-called Immaculates does she have in her palm, and to what end is she directing them? Your journey must begin in the Lacula mines, where she has been accumulating materials and manpower for a purpose as yet unknown. The way will be dangerous. Her allies are growing more powerful and numerous by the minute, but we must discover exactly what Leandra is planning and why. A soul forge comes with its own benefits, Source Hunter. Though our connection has weakened, I still see the occasional vision of Leandra's doings, the pangs of her deepest felt emotions, and flashes of her triumphs. One vision. I had thought it was only a nightmare, but now I see it was something much worse. Leandra is collecting materials, precisely what, I cannot say, and is hard at work shaping them into something sinister. Her frustrations are rivaled only by her mirth. I can see she's growing closer and closer to achieving something dire. You must make your way deep into the mines to see exactly what she's planning. I believe that our soul forge has been damaged. By what? I can only guess. The fraying of the bond between us has left Leandra adrift in a well of sorrow she truly believes will never end. What she needs is a hand, my hand, out of this abyss. If our soul forge is repaired, I am certain she'll cease blazing this path of destruction. The way may be treacherous, but I cannot condone the terrible things she's done, but I can seek to understand them. With our soul forge in such tatters, I believe Leandra is adrift in the not at all inconsiderable sorrows of our lives. What's more, I sense a terrible force bearing down upon the bond.
all that is past and present.
Well, aren't you going to leech through? Who knows what wonder awaits you?
What an impressive room.
So it is. A hall fit for kings.
You. It cannot be you. But it can only be you. The Guardians. Those I deceived. Those that deserted me. But oh, how weak you have become. As weak as you used to be strong. Look about you. You used to lead, and now you follow. Ignorant of your faults, and ignorant of your fate. That it has come to this. Woe to the world that it has come to this. He won't believe me, the fiend. But they have come, as I prayed they would.
Well, wouldn't you look fine with a strapping warrior at your side? Or is it mages you prefer? An eagle-eyed ranger? A stealthy pickpocket? Take your pick of my swords for hire. Of course, Chief. But maybe you ought to get rid of some of your old ones first. Never does well to sour one batch in sight of the other. Back again, and not a moment too soon. Wait till you see the...
I've spotted something interesting. Who do you think that creature in there was?
I haven't the foggiest. But the eerie bit is that she seemed to know us.
Aha! The Starstone Seeker's return. Most fortuitous indeed, for I have been pondering over the nature of our shelter plane like a poet over his muse. For now, I will refrain from entertaining, or, as the case may be, annoying you with hapless conjectures, until in the maze that is my mind, I happen to stumble upon a clue more concrete than mere theory. In the meantime, and in the interest of saving time, please tell me your thoughts about the lady you talked to in the Hall of Heroes during your previous visit. Deceive. Desert. Your words, they ring a distant bell, but they are but pieces of the puzzle. And yet, could she be? But no, hold your chattering tongue, Zixaps. You promised you wouldn't hazard any guesses, and you'll stick to your word. You have my thanks, friends, for indulging me. A new portal has opened, and no doubt you are as curious as I am to find out what lies beyond. Let's go and take a look. Well, aren't you going to...
This place looks rather cozy, doesn't it?
It does.
Fangs of the Void, it is true. She told me she had seen you. Yet never would I have believed her delusions until... here, now. They manifest before me. You have become undeniable. The scurrilous sentinels themselves. It is miraculous, irrefutably so. But oh, how low you have fallen. Look at what you have become. What were stars have become moribund embers. You are to be pitied.
I'm a demon.
And none too friendly either.
This isn't my chest, which somehow I knew. My old chest. Why do I remember it?
Oh, what? Careful now. That's a trap.
Careful now, that's a trap.
It seems I can't use this right now.
My old chest. Why do I remember it? You and Zandalor have always been close, are you? Pray tell me, did you know anything about his affair at the King Crab?
Come now. Do you really think he'd let me in on it in advance if he'd been planning an affair with your sister?
How can I tell? Maybe you taught him a thing or two about slinking around in between shadows.
If that were true, Ikara, he wouldn't have been murdered, resurrected, and pursued by the bringer of the apocalypse as a result, now would he?
Ha, true enough.
There you both are. How jolly. There's something quite astounding you must see. It's the Weaver. Thanks to the Starstone you've collected, she's mended a portion of the tapestry. Look, a new story has been rewoven into time. A new portion of history appears to us for the first time in not even I know how long. Let us look together. Let us see what the Weaver has woven.
Long ago, two great generals led mankind in a terrible war. The dreaded Void Dragon threatened all of existence, and man and gods alike
joined swords to stop it. The two generals were celebrated as the rulers of all, and even the gods paid them tribute.
I greet you, honorable master of the house. I am the shepherd of elements, and I control how they may flock towards your most imperial presence. So, if it pleases you, command me, and the elemental aspect of your choice shall once more settle among these holy halls.
The choice, friend, the choice. You'll have to speak to the statue before we know what you'll find through the portal.
And that is your final choice?
In fact, it isn't. I want to go with another elemental. We'll not stick to this choice, unless you want me to stick it to you.
Friend, the choice. You'll have to speak to the statue before we know what you'll find through the portal. The choice, friend, the choice. You'll have to speak to the statue before we know what you'll find through the...
Very well.
Perhaps you would like to reconsider, and that is your
In fact, it isn't. I want to go with another elemental. The choice was an unwise one, which you should be able to recognize.
I have seen the void.
No. We'll do as I say. There's an end to it.
Thy will be done.
The choice. You'll have to speak to the statue before we know what you'll find through the portal. I wonder who awaits you in the next chamber. I wonder what they'll say.
And hope.
I wonder who awaits you in the next chamber. I wonder what they'll say.
Oh, it's so cold in here, it hurts.
I think my very words may
His every
freeze
word
and
is
fall to the ground.
poisoned, such as no serpent has ever known.
They glow with a brilliant flame, Your Grace. Even he cannot snuff it out.
Oh, but he sides with that which has no name. I know he does. He is betrayal incarnate. He tricked them once, and will try to do so again. I fear...
By the hoary beard of Boreas, can it be? You've come. You've come home. It's about time, isn't it? Your quarters have been invaded by all manner of madness. Does my brilliant frost beguile you? I am ice, of course. A soldier of ice, to be explicit, and this is where I have dwelt across many eons. Here I wait for the day, if ever, I am called to serve the realm again. Could I be more explicit? This place is of your essence. Can't you feel it in your very bones, as I do in every crystal of frost within me? You belong here, and this place belongs to you. I cannot tell you why or how, but I know it to be true. Of course, alongside my opposite, the eternal fire, we were summoned in service of a goal greater than the timeless battle between heat and cold. Yes, together we sought victory against the void. You can thank our great army for all of this, you know. For existence itself. Those were times of great proportions. The forces of nothingness pitted against those of life. And naught but ourselves marching to the beat set by our great leaders could stop the void's encroachment. Your home, your rules, naturally. What would you like to know?
Not lately, Master Imp. Indeed, I very much fear that until the void is caged once more, there will be no future to prophesy. There is magic to this place, isn't there? No matter how forlorn it seems.
There is magic, but it is not so much forlorn as it is dormant. I trust the Source Hunters and their star stones will stir it from its slumber.
I'm confident they will. They must. The alternative is unthinkable. Still, one can't help but wonder where the gods have run off to in all this. The void won't spare them, you know. There's no hiding from the great nothing.
Their where and why is of no import. This moment is all there.